Do y'all know that not being in tune with your body, like at all, is actually a form of self-harm? Because it is. You know, if you're not in tune with your body, if you're not even like basically in tune, you're letting your body deteriorate. And in the long run, that's going to hurt you. Like actually physically hurt you. Seriously. So I'm saying you need to be in tune with your bodies. Okay? If you want to really be healthy. Today we are going to talk about part 2 of me being excommunicated from the trans cult. So this is my peak trans story part 2. Where I left off in my first peak trans story, was I had, you know, I mentioned the beginning of this part, but I didn't really delve into it. So we're gonna delve into it today, my darlings. So let's see if I can get a better shot of my stretches, but then I feel like I'm not gonna get a shot of me. What's good? We got a fucking baby Kubrick on our hands here. Anyway, so what happened once I came out as a TERF, right, was I started telling people how I felt. And I started explaining to them, you know, I no longer believe in transgenderism because it doesn't make sense, and you can't biologically change your sex. You can't physically change your biological sex. That's absolute horseshit. Fucking duh. And what happened was I just started losing friends, like slowly but surely. Hi. You can't see my face now. Slowly but surely I started losing friends. And I can't even count how many friends I've lost, honestly, for having been a TERF. And it's really scary because it really is a cult. You know, the ways that these people behave is 150 million% cult tactics. I mentioned in my peak trans story the BITE model: behavior, information, thinking, and emotions. A cult that you are in will control those. They have very exact protocol for those 4 things: your behavior, your information, your thoughts, thinking, and your emotions. So you're only allowed to do those things in certain ways, right? Like the trans cult, for example. I stopped, you know, adhering to their bullshit pretty much, you know, like I said in the video, overnight. And there, it just all fucking made sense suddenly, you know? It's like you can't become a woman if you're a man. You can't become a man if you're a woman. And it's totally sexist to assume that you can do either. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the transes or anyone to tell me what's wrong with being a masculine woman or what's wrong with being a feminine man. Been waiting. I've never gotten an answer. But so trans people, especially men, trans women, are performing their favorite sexist stereotypes. And that's bad news, right? We don't want to do stereotypes. If you go to any video, Steph Sanjati or whoever the fuck Riley Penis, Justin Penis. Their videos, all the comments by women will say things like, oh my God, your hair is so pretty. Or, oh my God, your makeup is on point. Or, oh my God, I just love that top. Which is such a horseshit hop way of socializing, right, with other women. It's very childish. It's very surfacey. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it is sexist, right? Yeah, it's sexist. So anyway, yeah, I just started telling my friends that this was how I felt. And I started saying, you can't change your biological sex, and these people are really hurting themselves when they're getting these surgeries, you know. I see these videos of trans women frequently, and it's so obvious that they've all had plastic surgery. Like, to a trained eye, it is not hard to see when someone's had plastic surgery, but then again, everyone is fucking stupid, so I guess it is hard for everyone to see. So, you know, when someone's had plastic surgery, it's very obvious. So when I see a man with his face all cut up to look like a woman's, I'm like, wow, that guy fucking cut up his face. That guy paid someone else to cut up his face for him. That's fucked up. But anyway, let's get into what else happened to me once I was outed as a TERF, okay? So I had this friend. I'm debating on whether or not I should use her real name because, I mean, okay, so let's just call her Stephanie. I had this friend named Stephanie, and she was like my best friend, honestly. She's my best friend in town here, and I really loved her, and we really got along. She was the first friend I made when I moved here and was going to school here, going to university here. We were both transfer students. We were the same age. We just really connected. She was very cool. We were both studying French. She was very cool. And when I first met her, this is so telling of the trans cult. When I first met her, and, you know, she hadn't had a lot of influence from our school yet, because we had both just started. She made fun of SJWs, didn't even call herself feminist, called herself egalitarian, and again made fun of SJWs. And so she was also had been on birth control, and since she was 15, okay? That fucks with you mentally, I promise you. So then we'd been going to school for a while, and she got really into the Portland, the school student union, right? So she got really into that, started going to the meetings. I kind of tried to get into it too, you know, because I was interested in activism. I was interested in making the world a better place, and that seemed like the place to be. But so, you know, I stopped going pretty soon after starting to go, because Mom has a really tense hips. Check nose. Hey, look, you can see my reflection. I stopped going because I just felt like they weren't going anywhere. I saw a lot of misogyny, and the person who was fucking commandeering the whole group, the whole operation, was a trans woman. And I was just not really feeling it, and the way that we would start meetings was you would go around and tell everyone your pronouns, because that was important, apparently, and there was always, like, one, obviously it was just for the trans people, because there was only, like, oh, my left hip is so tense, there's only, like, one trans in the room, so you have to say, everyone has to say their preferred gender pronouns because of the one trans in the room. So dumb. Anyway, I just thought that shit was stupid. And so I stopped going, and I was also a radical feminist, and they were staunchly pro-trans. They were staunchly trans cult, so I was like, peace. And I really did try to talk to Stephanie about, because so what happened was there was some overlap. Like, I was still somewhat of an SJW hop liberal when I met her, but I was starting to come out of it, and she was just starting to become an SJW hop liberal. Okay, but there was some overlap there. So as I was coming out of it, I was trying to tell her about it and explain it to her, and, you know, show her my thoughts and that kind of thing. And generally she just, like, wouldn't have it, which was really dumb. But I said, like, you cannot change your sex. You know, facts. I was telling her facts. And at one point we were talking on the phone, and I don't remember what I was saying, but obviously it was something anti-trans or not, or just, you know, reality that shits on, that therefore reality shits on the trans cults. Okay, they don't like to be reminded of reality. I said something when we were talking on the phone one time, and there had already been distance created between us. And she was like, she, like, started not being able to deal with what I was saying. She was like, oh, the transphobia, that's so transphobic, that's so transphobic. And I was like, I'm just stating facts here, boo-boo. It doesn't, like, fuck your transphobia. Do you think I care? Do you think I care? Obviously, I don't. Obviously, I don't care about the trans cult. And obviously, I want to fucking dismantle that shit. And obviously, it's fucking misogyny and sexist. Hello. Anyway, you know, she just flat out would not hear my point of view. Wouldn't let me explain it to her, which is super rude. She didn't even know about my former friend who's trans. I didn't even get that far with her because she wouldn't hear it ever. Super inconsiderate and rude. So we were close for a minute there. I could tell, though, that she was a very traumatized person. Let's remember, everyone, that people in the trans cult are very traumatized, but plenty of people who are very traumatized aren't in the trans cult, and they aren't fucking unreasonable like members of the trans cult, okay? But so she was very traumatized. She had been raped. She did cam work, prostituted herself that way. She was a very, you know, messed up individual, and what the pill is going to do, if you are a very messed up individual, is make you worse. I don't mean to say very messed up individual. You know, I feel like every woman in patriarchy is going to have pretty serious mental issues, right? So if you have pretty serious mental issues to begin with, and then you get on the pill, it's going to make them worse. Or, you know, you go throughout puberty, you go throughout young womanhood. Like, people don't, I feel like people have this mindset that, like, oh, once you're 18, you're just immediately, like, completely physically mature. Not true. That's not true. You know, some girls get their period when they're 15. And they're still developing a cycle after that. You know, it takes time. And the pill inhibits you from doing that naturally. It's bad. But so I tried to explain that to her, but she wouldn't have it. She was like, I just had really bad cramps when I just had really, really debilitating cramps. Okay, first of all, really, really debilitating cramps come from not eating enough fucking meat and getting proper nutrition. That's how you have really, really bad cramps. And especially when you're a very young woman, especially when you're, you know, in puberty, your period, you're not used to your period, you're not used to cramps, you also don't fucking talk to midwives or talk to me or have not watched my videos, because there are ways that you can ameliorate cramps. Let's do one right now. I've had bad cramps before, and what you want to do is you want to get on a ball. You want to just feel that shit out, okay? You want to just, you know, you just have to, like, get through it. You have to breathe. You have to walk around. You have to move around, you know.
It's not like an easy fix. Like, you can't just give a girl pills and then expect everything with her period to be cool. Going back to Stephanie, she and I hadn't talked for a while. It was clear that she had created distance between us. We hadn't talked in about 6 months. Like, we had talked a little bit, like, through Messenger or texting, but we hadn't, like, I had tried to call her, I had asked her to hang out multiple times on Gmail chat, all this shit, to which she just didn't respond. And I fucking knew she was on the internet, having seen my messages, but having not responded to them. Because I'm the filthy ass dirty turf, right? Anyway, so I knew she wasn't responding, and I was like, okay, it's probably because of the trans bullshit. And then when Trumpkin Pumpkin got elected, I messaged her because she hadn't outrightly said yet that she hadn't outrightly said anything yet, so I assumed she was just ignoring me. Oh, you know, like a fucking middle schooler. Because, you know, if you're ignoring someone, especially if you're ignoring another woman, because women tend to not ignore men, but they ignore women. Anyway, it's just really middle school, so she had been fucking ignoring me, and it was really rude. But anyway, when Trumpkin Pumpkin got elected, I messaged her, and I said, hey, I'm sad. I wish Trumpkin Pumpkin hadn't gotten elected. But, like, let's be real here. It's not like Hill was going to be much better. Anyway, I digress. And she messaged me. She finally messaged me. And she finally told me how she felt. And she said this. She was like, I'm sorry. I just don't know how to be friends with someone who believes such negative things about trans folks. And I went off on her because she fucking had it coming. I was like, look, you didn't even let me explain myself. How dare you ignore me like this and not tell me how you felt when I was trying to be your friend and trying to fucking love you because I care about you as my friend? Fucking get the fuck off of birth control because it is fucking with you. It's still fucking with you, Stephanie. If you're still on that shit. And you're still on Reddit. And you're still camming. Why don't you woman up and stop? Anyway, I just went off on her. She had it coming. And then she said, I just have so much love for you. And I was like, oh, no, you don't. Because people who love each other don't treat each other like this. If you really cared about me, you wouldn't treat me like this. And so she broke up with me. Meanwhile, this other gal, who I'm going to call Sonia, was my friend. And I tried to tell Sonia my beliefs about transgenderism as well. Because it's important to know that. It's important, if you're a radical feminist, if you have radical feminist leanings, it's important to tell people that. Because they need to fucking hear it. Okay? Anyway, I was trying to tell her about it. And this was someone I considered a good friend. She took care of Czech for me while I was on vacation in Italy. That was really fucking nice of her. You know, we had known each other for a number of years. We met through the student union horseshit, even though I didn't continue going. And, you know, I met her, like, for lack of a better term, grandparents. And, like, she took me to Yom Kippur with her, which was super fucking cool. Because I wanted to go. And she knew it. And, anyway, this person is also very, very mentally insecure. On birth control, had been deeply traumatized by liberal all feminism, had been deeply traumatized by the trans cult. I was trying to talk to her while I was still talking with Stephanie, and I was getting ignored by Sonia. And I was just thinking that Alma, I mean, Stephanie was just, too late. Too late, biatch. Maybe you shouldn't have fucking treated me that way. Anyway, I was thinking that Stephanie was talking to Sonia about what I had said to her. I was talking to Sonia about me having been a TERF. And sure enough, one time I messaged Sonia and she said, Leah, your belief in TERFism is hurting us both. And I was like, I think I just ignored her. But this was like not 2 months after she stayed here in my lovely apartment and took care of my cat and dog for me. Maybe not 3 months after. But I was out as a TERF then. And then she decided within that time period, also having talked to Stephanie, that, oh, I was just not a good person and then I was just worthless because I'm a TERF. So I guess one thing I'll give Sonia, though, was she was woman enough to tell me she wanted to meet up in person. So we met up in person. And this really happened. Okay, I know it sounds like I'm making it up, but this really happened. I was, at this point in time, I don't remember if I was 25 or 26. But it was one of those. And Sonia was, 24 or 25. There's no reason for a woman that grown to act this way. You know, liberal feminism is a very teenage form of rebellion. That's a Terry Strange quote. So, we met in person. And she was like, I don't want to be friends anymore. And I said, okay, why? And she said, you exclude trans women. And I said, and you're excluding me. And I could see in her face that the light bulb had gone off. And she understood that that was wrong. But she didn't care. And I said, can you define, in person, I said, can you define what a woman is without using stereotypes? She said, I'm not going to do that. And she walked away from me. This is so fucking goddamn middle school, but that's the trans cult for you, because they're fucking, like, middle school minded. Seriously. Clearly they are. Haven't heard from either of them, but if either of them decided to woman up and also get the fuck out of their own oppression and stop identifying with their own oppression and stop being such good sports about their own oppression and being obsessed with their appearances and thinking that the trans cult is something good, then I would love to talk again. So y'all feel free to hit me up. That's not even the end of it, though. I say this the way I say it, right? I just told y'all about it, but it really, really, really did upset me because I really did care about them as people, as women, as friends. I really did. And the fact that they treated me that way, they acted like such fucking middle schoolers, was just really shocking to me. And it still is. I can't believe that grown women would act that way. But liberal feminism causes grown women to act like middle schoolers. That's not even the end of it, though. I have way more friends that dump me for being a TERF. I told some of my other friends. And it's interesting because the way that a lot of them dealt with that was that they would listen. And they would say, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you have a point. And then later, they would just ignore me. I would just be ignored. I would, call them or try to talk to them. I didn't really call them. People don't really call people anymore, but I'm sure I did call them. This one guy who is also named in Secondhand Rape was a friend of mine, but not really, because a lot of times what men do when they're friends with women is they just want they just want the woman's perspective on something. So this fuckface would call me all the time about, you know, his girlfriend troubles, and then I actually then for once in one of our conversations, I tried to have, you know, an actual conversation with him, and I told him that I no longer agreed with transgenderism, but I wasn't even using transgender at that point. I no longer agreed with transgenderism. I no longer agreed with a lot of things. I now identify as a radical feminist, blah, 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 blah. And he was just kind of like, okay, okay. And that was our last phone conversation, because he never spoke to me after that. Because I was a TERF. Hashtag TERF life. But 5 years later, 4 or 5 years later, this shit's still going on. Couple years ago, this friend of mine from a while ago, who was anti-trans when I met her, and even used the term tranny when I met her, I did a post on my Instagram about pads, about cloth pads, how I use them. And I was just like, and I did hashtag only women menstruate. I was an out radical feminist at this point. And she just commented and said, trans women are women, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, bye. And this is someone I considered a really good friend. Boo Bear. Boo Bear. Why would you do me like that? Honey, I miss you. I miss you. I really do. I wish we could still talk. But I guess the trans cult was more important to you. Anyway. So, that happened. And then, very recently, when I made another post that was anti-trans, or, you know, I like to call it pro-reality. I made a pro-reality post. And this guy who was my old roommate's boyfriend, who I kind of knew years ago, commented. And he said, yikes, not a good look, sis. And I just blocked him immediately. Because I know now that trying to debate with these people doesn't work. If they're in the cult, then they're in the cult, and they will only come out of it if they so desire. Okay? It's very scary. It's very fucked up. It's very 1984. It's just a real shit show. And I feel so bad that so many people fall into this horseshit. You know, that they think that this is the way of the future and stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's so dumb. I want to read something from someone, but I'm not. Oh, there's my tablet. Fuck yeah. Okay, hold on. Yo, I got a new phone. So it has higher definition. Do you like it? Do you like it? So we're not going to say who this is. But this is a rather well-known member of the lib-fem trans cult horseshit bullshit crap. And what's really scary is that these people really do become the trans trender thing is it becomes their religion. And they can't comprehend someone questioning their religion. They can't comprehend someone, you know, degrading their religion or criticizing their religion. They can't comprehend someone even asking them basic questions about their stupid ass religion. And that's a really great indicator of an abusive cult. Okay. So, a most gorgeous TERF friend of mine, bonjour Mark, monk, posted something because she's actually a detransitioner, and we might do an interview with her. sometime. Posted something on her Instagram, and then this other known libfem hop trends cult member responded. So I'm going to read to you that response. Hey, this post is really transphobic and demoralizing to see from another lesbian. Trans women are women. Please address this transphobic post appropriately. The entire account is incredibly transphobic. And then, let's call her Onyx. Said, you're allowed to be delusional and believe that. I'm not the transphobia police. I don't believe in gender identity. I'm not going to address anything. Thanks. And then LibFemHop, cult ambassador, said, there's a difference in gender is a social construct, and I choose not to participate, and actively invalidating those who do choose. It's a matter of respect for our trans sisters. No one is saying you need to participate in the gender spectrum to respect those who decide to. What the fuck? If you participate in the gender spectrum, you're fucking being oppressive towards yourself. Anyway, that's like straights telling each other they can't support gay rights and liberation because it makes them gay. No, it isn't. Okay. And then she said, Onyx said, no, it isn't. You have no idea what you're talking about. And then LibFemHop said, by posting this, you're condoning transphobia in our community. No one is saying you must adhere to binaries to respect trans people. And then Onyx said, what is gender? And then LibFemHop said, gender is whatever you derive it to be. It's not what the word derive means, but anyway. Gender is whatever you derive it to be, whether that's a social construct or something others feel connected to. By posting that, you're allowing the dehumanization of trans women to keep happening. You don't need to understand gender to respect how other people connect to it. Okay, yes you do. Yes you do. You need to understand a basic concept to understand why people connect to it. Okay? You need to understand that. Plenty of people connect to religion. Plenty of people connect to Avengers, okay? And both of those are cool stories, bro, okay? And that's why people are into them. Gender, the trans cult, is not a fucking cool story. Anyway, you don't need to understand gender to respect how other people connect to it. You don't need to connect to gender or believe in it to support the existence of those who do. Transphobia has no place in the lesbian community. Actually, it does. If it's a real-ass lesbian community, I hope it's transphobic as fuck. Because that's real progress. Anyway, you don't need to date trans women or be a trans woman to have respect for them, their presentation and identity. So this person, LibFemHop, is speaking to Onyx, a former trans man, detransitioned woman. So why the fuck would LibFemHop know this shit better than Onyx? She wouldn't. Anyway, okay. And then Onyx said, no, what is gender? Give me a definition. Like, I could define woman for you. And then LibFemHop said, I think that might be it, actually. Okay, wait. LibFemHop said, wait. LibFemHop said, trans women have built our history. I encourage you to research Marsha P. Johnson, a drag queen, as she's sometimes identified. Okay. And then that actually got kind of cut off. But then Darling Onyx said, life is about sex, not gender. Gender isn't an actual experienced phenomenon. Pronouns are based in sex. No one actually has a gender identity. People are just people. They have sexualities and they have dreams. They don't have genders unless they're incapable of understanding the fact that sex is all we've got. and adult human females are women. They are in need of help, and their resources should be directed to them, not delusional men who want to appropriate womanhood unsuccessfully. Onyx said, any woman, adult human female, who is interested in a man or a penis, trans woman, is not a lesbian. Lesbians are female homosexuals. Why do you not know how to read? Onyx is hilarious. Okay, I think that was the... Oh, wait. Nope, it goes on. Okay. Onyx said, sex work isn't a fucking positive thing. Are you serious? Sex work promotes rape culture. It sways boundaries. It allows men to demean women even more. It isn't empowering. It's selling away your body for fear of nothing more. Positive environments aren't going to solve the fact that people are literally paying women to perform heinous things. Choosing sex work isn't liberating. It's absurdly stupid. Being forced into sex work is a horrible thing, and I do wish more people would stop. Obsessing over it as if it fell out of the sky in order to liberate women, for fuck's sake. Disgusting. Women need the rights to their bodies entirely. Sex work does not allow for that. And then, oh my fucking god, LibFemHop said, this is a fascinating point of view, and I appreciate you sharing it. There's a lot of passion and good intent, and that's what we need to find solutions. There's a lot of passion and good intent in wanting to end commercial rape or sex work. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Okay. I have spent a lot of time with sex work, within the sex worker world. From therapists who use sexual engagement to treat their clients. What the fuck? Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, it actually ends there. Maybe I could get the rest of the conversation from Onyx, but that's enough. Okay? It's clearly their fucking religion, and it's fucking with their brains. Okay? And that's what I'm so glad I mentioned Stephanie and Sonia earlier, because they were two extremely traumatized women, two extremely vulnerable women, okay? And of course, they just got right the fuck pulled into the SJW cult, the transtrender cult, the trans cult. Okay, anyway, I probably lost followers for making that most recent post. It was transphobic, but I'm happy about it. I'm happy to lose any friends I can for being a transphobe, because I'd rather be dead than be a hop. Went there! I would, though. I would rather fucking be dead than be a hop, seriously. I would rather be dead than still be in the trans cult. I was thinking about this most brilliant comment. I mean, it's not... Okay, just this comment that I love. That someone wrote to me one time, which was, I did my waiting! 8 years of it in the trans cult. And I'm like, you always want to quote Harry Potter with me. That is always a good idea, because it's true. It's like, I did my waiting in the trans cult. I believe there's stupid ass fucking doctrine that, oh, being trans is gonna fucking save the world. It's gonna end sex discrimination. It's just the future. It's now. The future is now. It's the way of the future. Blah 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 blah. All their delusional crap. Okay, but very quickly, it became obvious that I was calling bullshit on all their fucking points, right? Because you cannot change your biological sex. A woman cannot become a man, or vice versa. And it's fucking stupid to think otherwise. And I'm just like so upset about this, honestly. Because there are so many children now, you know, people aged 21 and younger who really believe that you can change your sex if you take some hormones and have some surgeries. You can change your sex. No, you fucking can't. We are not frogs! We're human beings and we don't fucking change our sexes. Sorry. I really hope I'm not covering the mic with the way I moved my phone just now. But, that's part 2 of my peak trans story, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.